The new Honda Civic Type R has arrived, and looking at its unapologetically aggressive face, sharp angles, fat tyres and rear wings so large you could iron your Sunday best on it, it's here to annihilate the mega hatch competition. But that's not what we're here to find out today. Instead, we're going to put the new 2015 car up against its 2005 EP3 Type R ancestor to find out how much higher the performance bar has been raised in 10 years.
We have got a 2-litre turbocharged 4-cylinder unit with 306 brake horsepower, going to all the front wheels obviously, 295 pound-foot of torque, top speed 167 miles an hour, 167 from a Civic. I've not got anywhere near that, but I can actually believe that it will do that. Which for a front wheel drive Honda is a bit of a brain kind of, brain FC UK. Doesn't sound particularly fruity. Yeah, that's full bore in 4th gear, so you don't get that much induction noise, but when you're behind the car and when someone else is driving away from you, that's when it sounds best. So what's the new Civic Type R like to drive? In honesty, it's pretty much like any other Civic, except a lot stiffer and a lot cooler inside. I've got plus R button, and what the plus R button does is it stiffens up the adaptive dampers by 30%. This car was made for the Nürburgring, and immediately I can feel that the car is a lot stiffer and a lot keener. That's what it's doing on the road. We've got VTEC low down in this engine, and then the turbo kicks in and does the rest.
After stripping back a few layers of tyre rubber, it's time for me to jump into the seat of the smaller and lighter 2005 EP3 to find out exactly what's changed.
So this is the 2005 EP3 Civic Type R, and the first thing you notice after jumping out of the new car is that the seats, they're pretty hard, they're pretty firm, right?
Yeah.
Do you like the seats?
No.
Plenty of kind of lateral support, but they're really quite hard. Also, a lot noisier in here, a lot more sparse, and the steering rack itself is a lot slower. I mean, way slower. But hey, this is a 10-year-old car. I'm not going to bitch. I'm just telling you the differences, all right? Now, the reason that we're driving the EP3 generation against a new car, there are 2 reasons for that. One being that this is the only car that you could buy in the UK. The others you had to import. And also, this is the car that everyone really fell in love with, except for the imports, obviously. There's a lot of stuff to like about the EP3, namely the gearbox positioning. I like that it's slightly higher than the new Civic Type R. Just means that you can grab for those gears slightly quicker. Also, we've got VTEC in the right place, which is kicking in now in 4th gear. Yes! So you start off in this really quite slowly, and then you get the VTEC, and then you go bwah, 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 bwah. It's more subtle than that, obviously. Anyway, what are the headline figures for this? We have got 197 brake horsepower, 145 pound-foot of torque, so pretty much exactly half the torque that we're getting with the new turbocharged car. Top speed, 146. We didn't even break into the 150s. Bit of a disappointment.
The EP3 was the last celebrated Type R in the UK because its chassis was fun and it felt just right. The newer FN2 version never really hit the mark with buyers because it was 60 kilograms heavier and only 1 bhp more powerful. It was also anything but pretty. The EP3, however, that's got an understated, timeless design that I like the look of. Now we've covered the basics, I think it's time to drop some drag races, braking tests and handling comparisons into the equation, for the purposes of science, of course. The first car into the gauntlet will be the 2005 EP3. Remember, this car weighs around 1200 kilograms, produces 197 bhp from its naturally aspirated 2-litre and should hit 60 in 6.4 seconds. Let's find out if I can get anywhere near that. With clean gear changes and no horses spared, I've clocked a disappointing time of 7.2 seconds. Given a few more goes, I'd probably be able to get that down slightly, but under 7 seconds, I'm not so sure. Let's find out what the turbocharged 2015 car can do, bearing in mind that it weighs 1378 kilograms, but has 50% more power than the EP3. We're looking for a time of about 5.7 seconds to 60 miles an hour here. This time around I've managed a 6.3 second run, which again is way off the mark but about as good as I can achieve realistically. Next up, let's take a close look at both cars' braking performance from 60 miles an hour. As you can see, both cars stop in near identical places, so it's up to our man with the cones to make the final ruling. And would you believe it, the lighter EP3 has edged it, stopping in a distance of 26.5 meters versus the new car's 30 meter figure. So at 1-1, it's all to play for now in the handling shootout. As you can see, the 2015 Type R makes quick work of the cones, cornering flat and fast thanks to its adaptive dampers, agile handling assist that brakes the inside wheels during cornering, super stiff rear suspension, limited slip diff and clever dual axis strut front suspension that separates steering and suspension forces to allow for a 55% reduction in torque steer. Behind the wheel, the car's quick steering rack means that I don't have to cross my arms over too much to make the turns, and massive grip means that there's no time lost. The EP3 by comparison is anything but composed. The suspension wallows, the tyres lose grip, and the car turns into a tripod. As for me at the wheel, I have to resort to using just one hand to get the much slower steering rack to turn the wheels. After a few runs in the EP3, I'm knackered despite that being mega fun. With these performance tests, it's obvious that the Type R game has moved on considerably, but before I tell you which one I'd take home, it's back to the track for some more tyre warming.
The thing that I don't like about this is that there is so much grip, and then when you ease off the throttle, the back end doesn't step out and the back end doesn't kind of help you correct the line. With the EP3, you can do that all day long. Really supple chassis, lift off oversteer, just helps you around the corner. And in a lot of corners, the EP3 will be quicker than this. In this, when you're pushing, you have no alternative but to keep your foot pinned on the throttle, because if you lift off, the car's just going to think, what the hell's going on? And it will just induce understeer. But if you've got nice, big, long corners, then this will just all over the EP3. A lot of power and a lot of trickery underneath the chassis just makes this so incredibly fast. We've got cool gadgets, we've got G meters. I can also see how much throttle I'm applying. There you go, 100%. How much brake I'm applying. There you go. Sorry, Ethan, should have warned you. Where is it going to stop? Are we going to be seeing 400, 500 horsepower going through the front wheels in, I don't know, 10 years time? That would be nuts. But today, 306 horsepower works perfectly. Very, very, very impressed. I've never driven one of these, but I have to say, on a really tight handling circuit, this has the edge over the new car. The reason it has the edge is because you get lift off oversteer in this, and you get a lot of it, which means that you can just correct your line mid-corner. It kind of works with you, it kind of lets you dance around on the limit, and even an idiot like me can lift off oversteer. This is the easiest car I've ever done it in, and it works with you, not against you. Front wheel drive, who thought front wheel drive could be this fun? Not me. And it lets you learn driving. With the new car, just like the GTR, it does everything for you.
The new 2015 Honda Civic Type R is great value at about £30,000. Not only is it a fascinating machine from a technical standpoint, it's also a car that you can use as a daily, then drive to the Nürburgring on the weekend to overtake everything in sight. A 10-year-old EP3 Type R by comparison can be yours for as little as £2,000, and while it's nowhere near as capable in a straight line as a 2015 car, it's astonishingly quick on a fast B road, simply because it's lightweight, and crucially, the fact that it's a lift-off oversteer god means that you can trim your lines with a simple lift of the throttle followed by full power again. In fact, during this epic day of filming, the new car was simply unable to shake the determined EP3, and in my book, that's a winner. But the question remains, if money wasn't a thing, and if I was given the keys to either car to keep for a year, which would it be? If fun was my only objective, then the EP3 would win it hands down. Its chassis dances like that hot girl in the club, and you always want more. But when the night's over, all you really want is to get home fast without really thinking. And that's what the new 2015 Type R does so well. It flatters its driver, makes mincemeat of almost anything you can throw at it, and will even have a pint of water waiting for you on your bedside table. But if there's one thing that petrolheads like us understand, it's that we follow our hearts when it comes to our love of cars. And for that reason, I'd get the girl in the club's number and take her out in my EP3.
come here and you just enjoy yourself with your friends and family, and then you get in that car that you've put so much effort into, so much work, the sacrifices that your friends have to make as well, and then to go and win and do what you do, there isn't a feeling like it. There really isn't a feeling like it.